Alright, so this video is going to be about the comments that Macy Gray and Bette Midler made last week about trans women. I am a trans woman. I identify as a trans woman. That's how I present myself to the world. And a lot of people are still upset about the comments that singer Macy Gray and Bette Midler made about trans women. Macy said something on Piers Morgan that offended a lot of people in the trans community. I started transitioning 4 years ago, back in 2018. I didn't agree with Macy Gray's comments, but at the same time, not everyone's going to agree or accept you. Whether you're trans, not trans, religious, not religious, Democrat, Republican, libertarian, nothing at all. People are always going to have opinions. That's how life is. That's what makes us different. A lot of people who say things like what Macy Gray said on Piers Morgan's show, I don't like him that much. I never really cared too much for that guy. But a lot of people don't understand or even know what gender dysphoria is. And until they actually educate themselves on what gender dysphoria is and what trans people, most of us, experience and battle almost every day, I think people will continue to have those attitudes towards trans people. And it just seems like now a lot of us are, or even in the LGBTQ plus community, are trying to force our identity on everyone, and whoever doesn't agree is automatically labeled transphobic or homophobic. I don't think that's right. There are people who are transphobic or homophobic, but some people just don't understand and need to be educated. And some people don't want to be. And that's fine. You can be entitled to your opinions and not hear otherwise. That's your choice. But at the end of the day, we must all live our lives, regardless of whether who accepts us and who doesn't accept us. If someone doesn't accept me, I'm not going to waste my energy on trying to get that person to see my point of view. At some point, it's no longer worth it, and instead I need to focus my time and attention and energy on what really matters to me and people who do accept and respect me. There are going to be people who don't validate trans women as women. I wasn't born a biological woman. There are some people in the community who might disagree. I identify as a trans woman. Does that make me a woman? I think so, but not everyone's going to agree with that. And I've learned to accept that. But for those who don't know, trans women are not trying to erase women. Most of us are just trying to live our lives and be happy and live authentically. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be people or certain groups that just don't accept us for whatever reason. And that's up to them. They don't have to accept us. But if I were a trans athlete and I had been playing a particular sport for most of my life, I would feel that I have somewhat of an advantage, or that I might have. I'm not saying that all trans women have advantages over every single woman who was assigned female at birth. There are a lot of women who were assigned female at birth who would dominate in sports against a trans woman. But the funny thing is, I don't hear anything about this when it comes to trans men. Trans men, I don't know of any who are competing in men's sports. Maybe there are some. But what I think we should do, and this is my opinion solely, a lot like what the Mormons did when they were persecuted, so they separated. They headed west from the Northeast in search of the Great Salt Lake. And you go to Utah, and that community is built up, and it's owned and controlled mainly by the Mormon community, the Mormon church. I think it would be more beneficial to us if we had our own leagues and our own categories. We wouldn't have to deal with the backlash. We would be respected more. I'm not one who's going to try to force my way into a space where people don't accept me, or to think that I can convince people to. That's not my job. If someone accepts me, great. If not, they're entitled to that too. So if. Oh, and another thing, not all trans women want to have the surgery. A lot of people think that all of us want to have surgery or that all of us date men. Not all trans women date men either, or are out to trick men. I know for a fact that I'm not. Macy Gray and people who have been labeled as transphobic or TERFs, and this is only if you want to do it, I would try educating yourself. Learn more about the trans community, the LGBTQ community, and understand that not all of us agree on every single issue, and that most of us are just trying to live our lives, and we want to be happy and live a productive and fulfilling life. I respect everyone as long as they respect me. I have a problem when people are purposely being disrespectful to someone because they're trans or because they are LGBT. I respect other people's opinions and other people's views. They may not be completely in alignment with mine, but that's a part of life and that's what makes us different. So at the end of the day, be kind to one another.